Welcome, everyone. Lots of familiar names on the line. So glad you guys could join us today. And welcome to our April edition of your Expert Office Hours. We have our experts on the line today, including Anakit and Renee, who will be speaking with you today. And of course, Dan and Angie are with us to give you guys an IBI kind of update. So we're super thrilled for y'all to be here today. We're going to be talking about the new features in Designer 934. So lots of exciting and cool things coming that Anakit and Renee will show you. Just as a reminder, guys, we do record this, so I will send out a copy of the recording to everyone on the line, as well as any material that the presenters are able to share with you guys. If you have any questions for Anakit, Angie, Dan, or Renee during the time with us today, please utilize the Q&A feature. They will be monitoring that and able to answer your questions. We will also open up the line at the end and let you guys speak out loud if you'd like. So don't be shy. Since we do have a little bit of a smaller group with the gold and almost gold guys, we'd love for you to interact with us and ask your questions out loud and talk with the speakers. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dan, and we're going to get started. Dan has an update for you guys, so let me share my screen and get into Dan's presentation. Okay, Dan, over to you.
Thank you, Shay, and great to see such an awesome turnout here on the office hours session. Some great topics today. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about the technical details, and as I know you are as well. I wanted to just emphasize to you, our top customers, that we really have pivoted our product strategy over the past 6 months. And we're really 100% focused on customer-driven innovation. With our last two releases, the 933 and the 934, which is imminent, told that this will be released next week. We have a total of 127 projects that have been implemented that are tied to customer tickets, and 25% of those are new features. Now, what's key is the way that we're delivering the features. Everything that you'll hear today from Anakit on the designer capabilities and Renee as we move into 934. Once you are at a 93X level with the product, you can consume these features very easily, effectively with a service pack install. We won't ask you to change your configuration files. We won't ask you to move content. You still have to do your regression testing like you would with any type of incremental change in the version. But this is a major change in our program from what we used to do, which was to create very significant new feature releases with hundreds of new features, and then your upgrade cycle would be much more costly and much more difficult, right? So this is really our strategy now is a direct result of the feedback that we've gotten from our customers, such as the teams that are on the call today. And we're committed to this incremental approach going forward. So again, exciting, all these customer-driven features. We have our long-term support releases. We have 933 that came out earlier this year, 934 coming out, as I said, imminently. And then, I wanted to also just remind everybody that, as you upgrade to our 93X releases, and also many of you are renewing your licensing with IBI, you automatically get access to our platform offerings. And so no longer are we requiring you to have a licensing event when you want to add a new adapter or add some new capability in the product like machine learning or our natural language query features. Everything is automatically included with these platforms. Our IBI Web Focus Analytics platform also includes cloud rights. Our mainframe platform, for those of you on the mainframe, and I can see Lori is here from Northern Trust. We provide both Focus and Web Focus on the mainframe. Our Open Data Hub very robust set of capabilities, all of our adapters. And then the data intelligence platform, which includes iWay, our IBI data quality product, and data migrator as well. A note about our data intelligence platform: this is an area of the product that is undergoing some parallel development right now. I mean, we've been definitely focusing on web focus and designer in particular with our development program in recent months, as you know. But in parallel, we've been looking at ways that we can provide even stronger capabilities in our IBI DI platform. And specifically for those customers that are using our current DQ capabilities and/or Omni capabilities, we're working on providing some AI-driven matching and cleansing capabilities that some of our customers are starting to try in an early adopter form. And we anticipate that, later this year, we're just going to be adding those capabilities to our data intelligence platform and possibly even to our web focus analytics platform. So stay tuned on that. Just wanted to make sure everybody understood, like, our data engineering area still remains a very active area in our development program. Okay, next slide. So I wanted to take this opportunity, as I always do, to promote our upgrade program that we have going with our partner, Amtech Systems. So you can register for that program to register your interest in upgrading to a 9.3x platform, a 9.3x version. And so this program includes a discovering tool, which helps you determine any areas for modernization or remediation, a self-assessment tool, which allows you to rate or score the complexity of the upgrade. And that's important because, if it's an upgrade that's not too complex, or, you might be able to do it yourself and you might not need to engage with a partner or professional services team. But we do have a free workshop that can allow you to begin your upgrade with Amtex, and then potentially you may decide after that upgrade to enlist the services of Amtex if you don't have the resources internally to do the upgrade yourself. But we're seeing great traction overall in our customer base with the 9.3x product. Well over 200 customers have downloaded the product and are working with it, and we hope to count you among them as we build this excitement around Designer and other things that we're doing in 9.3.4 and beyond. So thank you for your attendance today. I see since I've been speaking here, the attendance has been going up. That's really good. Usually it goes down when I start to speak. I don't know, maybe that's a trend. But I'd like to now proceed with the next section of the program, which is really the meat of the program, where both Renee and Aniket are going to be presenting the details around 9.3.4 and also Designer. So thank you, Shay.
Perfect. Thanks, Dan. Okay, over to you, Aniket.
Renee will be starting here. So over to
Yeah,
Renee.
thank you.
Sorry, Renee. Over to you, Renee.
No worries. Okay, great. So let me share my screen. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm really excited to talk about today's presentation, really. I know you guys are excited about it too. So, right, it's our next release, Dan just talked about, right? It's ready to go out the door, 9.3.4. And it's my privilege to talk about some of the new features that have been added in 9.3.4 as it relates to Designer. And Aniket, following that, we'll talk about all the other great things that are coming down the line. And I'm very excited about it. Anybody that's been with Web Focus or even the core focus language for a long time can appreciate a lot of these changes. And so I'm excited to be talking about it today with you. So just to go through, give me a second here. So I'm going to talk about 9.3.4. I'll go through a few slides and then I'll go into the actual demo, and then Aniket will pick it up from there for the latest and greatest features that we're planning down the road, and then obviously Q&A. So 9.3.4. What are some of the features with Designer? And one of the first ones is this is a top requested customer pick in terms of reordering global filters. Now, we already could do that within assembled visualizations, right? When you create a page from existing content, that capability is there. And in fact, I'll show that to you just so that you're aware of what was already in the product. But one of the issues is that if you were doing a standalone, a single visualization, or you then converted that to an authored page, the filters that you created, the dynamic filters that have user interaction, you couldn't reorder them easily, right? So you had to restart from scratch. So it's unnecessary time consumption, workflow disruption and everything. So we gave you the capability in 934 to actually, change the order with a simple drag and drop with the UI, and you'll see a blue box and a line reflecting that and everything. And we completely respect filter chaining, so the hierarchies, whatever chaining that you have in place, that's actually respected. So it doesn't matter the order of the filters versus the underlying hierarchy will obviously be respected. That we maintain that data integrity, of course, everything. So that's reordering global filters. And again, that's from a standalone as well as an authored page, assembled visualizations. We do have that capability already there. The next one is sort order of global filters, right? It's always great to have additional flexibility, right? In managing your parameters, your filters, your dynamic filters within a single visualization or an authored page. So having the ability to say simply, sort ascending or descending, is key. Because there might be, more relevant data points depending on whether you have something in ascending order versus descending order. And maybe the request itself has that field already there in one way, but you need the drop downs to actually display it in another mechanism. And so we give you an easy capability with right clicking and being able to do that again with a standalone visualization as well as an authored page. And again, it is available already in assembled visualization content, and I'll show you that as well. Now, so the last thing is ranking, and this was a big one. Customers have been asking for ranking capabilities within Designer. We have it in InfoAssist, so certainly there's that legacy and migration of older, InfoAssist folk execs requests into Designer. And we already supplied the ability to do sort ascending and descending and actually limit that sort, what you get out of it. We give you a few default values. You'll see that, as well as, you can customize it. But ranking is really a nice feature, right? Because it gives you the ability to present and show, identify, top performing versus bottom performing data points. Really is. And we give you the customization and flexibility to kind of enhance that view of that ranked data. And anybody that knows the language knows about ranking. So you're literally ranking your data output based on, like I said, either top performing or bottom performing values. And again, it's a feature that's available in InfoAssist, and that actually is now part of Designer. And actually, if you have an InfoAssist request, you'll be able to convert that, and I'll show that as well. So I think that kind of covers the slides from my perspective and what I wanted to go through. So let me get out of here. And you should be able to now see that I'm in the Web Focus Hub. And if you notice, I'll scroll down here where my cursor is. It should be rather large. You'll see I'm in 934. So let's talk about the very first feature that I mentioned, which is the reordering of filters. And what I want to demonstrate first is that we have this capability in assembled visualization. So I want you to be aware of what already exists, right? So if I create a symbol visualization, that means I'm creating a page from existing content. I'll just select a blank template. And then I'll pick a piece of content with a chart with product category. And I'll just double click that in. And just because I always like to talk about some of my favorite features in Designer, symbol visualizations, one of my favorite, if you look in the upper right-hand corner where I'm hovering at, is the little info button. And what's great about that is that's a toggle that allows you to see when you go in, you'll see a preview of what that container is, what that content is. But if you toggle that info button, you'll actually see the reference path of where that content is located and actually the parameters that are associated with that content. So you can see right away that this Designer PCAT chart folk exec, where it resides, it's using WF Retail Lite. And you can see the two parameters, the DF_WH_ product category, as well as DF_WH_ product subcat, right? And I'm going to just flip that back just so that you can see the preview, but I like to showcase that. And if you look at the sidebar here over on the right-hand side, you'll see the little purple icon indicating I have some filters. If I click it, I can certainly right-click and add to the page as what options are available if I wanted to, or I could just add all filters to the page, which I'll do. By the way, you can see that product category and product subcategory are bound together as a hierarchy that came directly from the data source. If I collapse it, you'll see you only see product category. And if I wanted to go and just showcase, I have WF Retail Light, the master open, and you can see I went to folder products, so you can see the hierarchy there from just for reference purposes. And also, if you ever wanted to create our sample files you can see I'm here, right, in the applications directory or the recording server. You have the little plus data. You can go down to tutorials, and you'll see the little drop down. And these options, depending on what you select, can change what you see here. Like if I picked, the create legacy tables, I don't really get any other options. It's just IBI SAMP. So I just kind of want to mention and level set for anybody that might not be aware of that. And let me come back here and go back to designer. And so you can see here that I'm just going to add the filters to the page. So this product category, product subcategory, each filter, I can actually control options within this. But one of the things I wanted to showcase is that you had the ability that I could take a product subcategory and put it on top of product category and then move product category over. And you can see that I can reorder the fields. And certainly if I ran this from the assemble page, you would see that capability, right? You see product subcategory and product category. And I could certainly let the chart run, and I could pick a few. I like to pick computers and accessories, and of course rerun it. And that'll have an impact because these are chained on the list of values from product subcategory. So you can see order doesn't matter here from an assembled visualization perspective, right? So this capability is already there in earlier versions of 9.3, right? So I'm going to close this out, and I'm actually going to go and create a visualization. And I'll still use WF Retail Lite. Mine happens to be a flat version rather than a relational. And you can double click, or you can select it and then click Create Visualizations. Either way works. And then here, what I want to do is I'll leave it as a default chart. And let's select the product category. And then I'm going to select the sale year as another horizontal. And then I'll add revenue and gross profit as my verticals. So buckets change depending on what type of content you're dealing with and everything like that. And certainly what I'm going to discuss for charts is applicable for reports as well in terms of reordering the parameters. Now, what if I want to create dynamic parameters? Now, remember, if you want static parameters, no user input, that's where you use the filters bucket. But if I want dynamic parameters, here I want to add them to the filter toolbar right here where you see drop a filter or field here. And so what I can do is, let's say I want product category. I can right click on product category, and if I say add to filter toolbar, it'll certainly do that. And then if I wanted to, I could drag sale year from here or from the bucket, either way, and I can make that another filter. And then let me just showcase it from outline, because I know there's decoders out there and I like to showcase it. So I go to outline, right click, view source code, and you'll see the two wheres now and variables right there, right to there, and right there, right? So you can see me highlighting them, and so you can see where it's equal to amp variable. So easily created, not an issue. Now, if I close that out, if I had built this and then I wanted to reorder sale year and product category, prior to that, I'd have to delete those and then reorder them the way I wanted to. Now, it's just a simple matter. And actually, let me just, if I were to just run this, right? You won't see any parameters being prompted for, right? Because either you have to make it a required parameter, right, for auto prompt in this case, because it's a single visualization, or you have to save this request and then change the properties for prompt parameters and enable that, right, on that piece of content. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say required selection. I'll do that for both. And then if I run this, right, you'll see that it has product category. And then let's say I do computers and accessories. And then sale year, I do 22, 23, and 24, let's say. And I certainly could submit it. And you can see it's product category and sale year in the order that it is in the filter toolbar. right, for those parameters. Pretty straightforward. But now in 934, I have the ability to take sale year and just put it right on top of, and you can see the blue blocks, and now it has reordered it automatically. And since it's a standalone visualization, if I go into content and view source, I can actually see that it changed the order here as well. I'll close that back out. And now if I run it, of course, now auto prompt, right, will show me the sale year and product category. And of course I could pick 2020, 23. And of course I could pick different values, but you know, you get the idea, right? The idea is it's as simple as a drag and drop to be able to create that without having to redo. So, I mean, with just two, it really doesn't make much of a difference, right? But it's still extra work. But if I had a lot of filters and they're scrolling through in this toolbar, I have to scroll, I don't want to have to delete them all to reorganize it again. And certainly, if I convert this to a page, then I can also reorder accordingly as well. So it's not just for standalone visualization. The only thing is with a page, you wouldn't see that source code of the ordering and everything. That's internal to the page. So that really is how easy it is to reorder filters in the 934 release. So remember, you had that capability with assembled visualizations, but now you have it with a standalone visualization as well as an authored page that's converted from that standalone visualization. And in all cases now you have the ability to reorder the fills. How you do it is a little bit different, right, depending on where you're at. But you can see really it is as simple as drag and drop capability. Okay. So I'm going to close that back out and I'm going to come back. And now I want to talk about sort order of filters, right? And this is a very important capability. And I really do want to showcase it from the assembled visualization perspective, because it is available. And actually there's some kind of cool things there that maybe you're not aware of. So I'd like to just briefly mention it. So I'm going to go back in and do exactly what I did in my first demonstration showing assembled visualization, right? I'm going to bring in my specific piece of content. And remember, info button if you want to see it, but I won't showcase that again. I'm going to click the filters and I'm going to add the filters to the page. Now, certainly, if I look at the drop down and the values, you can see that they're in ascending order, right? For both product category and product subcategory, and that certainly makes sense. But maybe I have, based on this page, I want product category to be in descending order. And how do I accomplish that in an assembled visualization? Well, the way I would do that is put the focus on the product category filter, and in the settings tab, if I scroll down, you'll see the section called bindings, source, and you'll see WF retail, right? That's my data source, my synonym, and there's the little edit icon. Now, what it does is it brings up this edit source dialog box. Very cool. So by default, you'll see this, where it'll tell you the data source and the parameter. Now, there is an option for static where I could create my own static drop-down list if I wanted to. And then there's also this option of dynamic. And dynamic is cool because it can be from the data or from a procedure. And you can actually enable sorting where I could actually do descending order. So what I would do is I would keep it from data, and I would click and let me pick out WF Retail Light and select that. And then the value from in the display from field will be product category, so I can search for that in the drop down here and select that for product category for value from, and then product category, right, from the display from. And then I'm enabling sort order, sort by the value, right, not just display. And then I'm going to say descending. I'm going to click OK. You can see briefly that product category updated, and now you'll see I have it in descending order. So it is pretty straightforward. We give you a lot of flexibility with assembled visualization because there is something else that can be done, which is called a procedure. But let me just run this just to prove to you that it's not just in preview mode, but also at runtime. Just give that a moment to run. And then you can see now I have it in descending order, right? Pretty straightforward. Again, you have to know where it is, but it does, as long as you know bindings, and that's how I could change my sort order, that's great. If you just wanted ascending or descending, that's a really easy way to do it. But hey, I have another thing that maybe, and again, maybe this doesn't meet most business requirements, but the capability is there in case you need it, and it has come up for a few customers. So I wanted to mention it. So what if I change the source and say if it's dynamic, but I want it from a procedure. Now you notice in disable sorting, that's all grayed out and disabled and everything, because now the procedure is going to be controlling things. And I have this custom PCAT sort, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm going to open that up. And now value from and display from, I'm going to look at this procedure. And for both, I'm going to pick product category. And I'm going to click OK. And I want to showcase it. Now, when I look at this drop down, I can see that they're in not ascending order and not descending order. I see televisions first, media player, and I see they're all out of some kind of order, but not an order that makes in typical sense, right? Ascending or descending. So, and certainly if I run this, just to showcase it, and I look at the drop down, you can see televisions and then media player. And certainly I could wait for the chart to come up, but all right. Let me show you the actual source code of that procedure. All right. I just hand coded it, guys. But what you can see is I created this field called PCAT sort. And I did a decode on category, product category. And I created my own, remember televisions was first. And then media player was last. And then I have an else bucket in case data changes into something else that could fall into that. And then you can see I just sorted by those fields. And I did XML and I did cold list print only. And that's why those fields came up when I did that option. So just know that that capability is there. Just again, this is more for providing that kind of information. I think that would be very useful to be aware of. So now let me come in and now let me showcase what's available now in 934. Now that I showed you what was already there from an assembled visualization perspective, let's go into create visualizations again. And I'm going to create again a very, very similar chart to what you already saw, just for demonstration purposes. So WF Retail Light, create visualization. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to select, let's see, product category, as well as let's do product subcategory. And then I'll still do revenue and gross profit to select. And now I'm going to add both product category, add it to the filter toolbar, product subcategory. I could drag it over here even from the horizontal bucket if I wanted to. And now I have those two parameters. Now I do want to showcase it from the source code perspective, just so that you can see those two wheres that were built. And the key is you're going to see I'm hovering over, you'll see sort ascending, right, in the code. I'll close that out. And now, if I click them, you can see that the values are in ascending order. And now if I right click, it's as easy as, I mean, you have the ability to delete, exclude, make it multiple single, but it's as easy as it's sort ascending, I can make it sort descending, right? And for product subcategory, I'll leave that sort ascending because I want to go back into the source code just to show you, right? If I highlight again over those two where statements for those two parameters, now you'll see sort descending on product category and sort ascending on the product subcategory. And certainly, right, so if you see it, right, you can see here from a preview perspective, but certainly, let's just say required on these, so the auto prompt will come up. And now you'll be able to see, right, it's in descending order, it was respected. And certainly this is in ascending order because I didn't change the order for that. It's as simple as that. It truly is. And it's not just for a single piece of content, of course. And certainly, if this were a report, it certainly would be valid as well. So if I went and changed this, if you scroll down and you have the template collapse, you can hover over here, standard report or grid, or if I expand it, if you go to the report section, you'll see these two here. These are both table requests. There is a data grid here. That's still a chart. These two are table. And certainly this is applicable to that as well. But on top of that, certainly if I were to convert this to a page, right, I have that option as well for me. So I can certainly right click, and then if I wanted to, I could change that accordingly. Now you're at a page, you're not going to see seeing the source code the way you did with a standalone visualization, but you get the idea. You see it respected when I converted what was already there. And certainly, if I were to add something like, let's say, sale year, add to the filter toolbar. That's just an I field, but because it's known as a date format, but in I format. Actually, if I click it, right, you'll see it's in ascending order. This might make sense to maybe I want that into sort to descending. And now what I have, right? Very nice capability. And it is so simple and easy, right? From a contextual standpoint, it is a little bit more simplistic, right? Than you would see with a simple visualization, but that's because we're giving you a lot of other capabilities there too. But as long as you know what the functionality is and where it is, and we try to make that as intuitive as possible. And this, you can see it is very intuitive. It's sort of ascending and descending. It can't be more simple than that. So, okay, let's close this one out and talk about ranking. And this is my favorite feature. So they're all my favorites, I have to admit. So let's go to create visualization. And I'm going to create an, again, this, remember, ranking is strictly for reports, right? So I'm going to go into WF Retail Lite. And then I'm going to change this to a standard report. And again, what I showcased before, right? These two are reports. I'll just do a standard report. Notice when I go to report, you'll see the bucket names change, right? Rows will be your by fields, column groups your across, and then summaries. And you could change what kind of verb it is, either here from this contextual menu or here. The choice is up to you. But okay, so let me just create a request. So what do I want for this request? Well, I'm going to make this very simple and very similar to what you've already seen me do. And I'll just say, for sorting purposes, let's do product category, product subcategory, right? And then we'll have a few measure fields, and I want to change this a little bit. I'm doing revenue, I'm going to do quantity sold, and I'll still do gross profit. Pretty straightforward, basic kind of request. Now, before 934, it should be clear. If I wanted to do something like on revenue and say I want to sort in ascending order on revenue, right? And I did that. What it would do is it would create a hidden field in the rows bucket, right? The by field. It's a high-level by field. And you can see it's hidden because it's a different type of color, right, than the darker blue. You don't see that there, but you still see revenue as a measure. But now you can see it's in ascending order, right? And I want to go into the view source just to briefly go through that so that you can see here, what you're seeing here is the by total on revenue with a no print was generated. And then I also have the capability, if I want, to do a sort limit. And I can do custom if I want. So let's say I did 12. There's some ones there you could pick, and now you can see I have 12 records, and it's in ascending order. And then maybe, no, what I want is I want to make that descending, right? That makes a little bit more sense. So that capability is already there. So I'm just going to remove that, and just so that you could just see that from a code perspective as well. You could see the by total highest, right? Descending order, and then the 12 was where I put the limit on, right? So you can see that coded there. So I'm just going to remove that field, right? I could have just clicked the little X too. Either way, I like to showcase different ways of doing things, give you a lot of capabilities. And now with ranking, you notice there's a rank option here. Now, if I select rank, let's say by highest on revenue, notice it does a very similar kind of behavior. It'll create that hidden field as the high-level sort field. It'll create a rank column. And then what you would see is, from a source code perspective, you'll see ranked by total highest. Now, one thing to note is that this will certainly respect, like if you do, if I go here and I do ascending, it'll change that to ascending. So then if you see, it'll actually be that way in the output, right? You can see the rank, and you can see the revenue now is in ascending order. And certainly, if I wanted to do a sort limit and say 5, that's certainly respected as well. All right. So I just wanted to kind of show that. So let me put that back to descending, and I certainly could keep the limit there, but let's just say no limit. And then let's take a look at ranking, right? So it's ranking the data accordingly, creating that rank column, and we give you some customization capability. So if you right-click on the field that's hidden within the bucket by default, if I want to, I can unhide that field. Normally, you want it hidden, right, because you already have that field in your request being displayed. But I'm just going to unhide it for the moment, just so that you can see that. Certainly, I could hide it again. I can actually rename not only the title of that column, which I'll do here, and I'll just say, revenue data. You'll see now that what was hidden in that column now says revenue data. Or I could right-click and I can actually rename the rank title. Now, if I do that, let's just say ranking. One thing I wanted to point out is notice the column has rank in uppercase, R-A-N-K, but when you came in here, it didn't. I could cancel it out. It still would have been in uppercase. We kind of did that because in Info Assist, if you ever created a rank in there, by default, it would be in uppercase. So for migration purposes. So I'm going to say OK. And now you can see the ranking column has adjusted accordingly. And then, of course, I can go back and hide that revenue data because I only want revenue to come out once. And certainly, I could, again, respect and put my right click on here on the revenue field in the summaries bucket and say, you know, hey, I want 10. So I can limit that. And perfectly valid. Now you can only rank one field. That was including in InfoAssist as part of the language. You can only rank one field at a time. Now, certainly if I wanted to, I could right click and I could say remove this ranking field, and then you would see it was gone. And what I could do is let me undo that to just showcase the capability. Let's say now I want to change it and I want to rank on a different field. That's not really what I want to rank on. I want to show quantity sold. And I want to do that. And I'm going to say rank, you know, by highest on that one. Notice it replaced quantity sold, and any kind of things that I had on revenue for that rank is not applicable anymore, right? So that one's removed, and then this one is applied. And I wanted to showcase this because this is a great thing in how we're coordinating everything together. If you notice the ranking column, you'll see that for ranking 6, right, in camcorder where I'm hovering, right, it had multiple values of 43 for quantity sold, and then it goes to 7. That's what we call a dense ranking. And what that means is, as I'm ranking the data, if there are multiple values that match up the same, the next sequential ranked number will just be the next number in the sequence, regardless of how many multiples I have. But we also have a setting called rank that has a sparse option that says, hey, if I have multiple values, the next ranked number should be what the last ranked number was plus the number of multiple values, and that would equal what the next number would be. So instead of 7 here, because we had 2 values of 43, it would be 8. So what's great is starting in release 9.3, we gave you a set UI, set command UI capability, and rank is part of it. If I scroll down and check rank, you'll see dense is the default. Dense is default, but sparse. I could select that and OK. Now, sometimes you won't see it update, you have to do something else in the canvas. So I just went in there and clicked OK again. And you'll see now 6, and then the 2 43s, and then it went to 8. It really is as simple as that. And then also, if I wanted to look at the view source, you can kind of see here where we put the setting in the code and everything, but you can still see our rank column right there. Really great feature. Customer, you guys were asking for it. They produced it, and again, it all coordinates and stuff. And that ranking capabilities, changing that set, is a capability that wasn't even in InfoAssist. We expanded the set options that are available to you. And I want to showcase just one last thing. I know that Aniket is anxious to speak, and I know you're anxious to hear what he has to say. But let me just close this out because I just wanted to showcase. I had an InfoAssist request here. This is just a duplicate of it, and I'm going to edit just to show you an InfoAssist. A ranking report. And you can see right here, I'm hovering, you can see where rank is hidden. And if I right click it, you can see sort, it had the sort in descending, rank was on. So it's, UI is a little bit different, right? And then there was a limit, and you can see custom is pick. And if I pick that, you'll see it had a 12 limit, right? So and you can see the ranking right here. Now, if I close this out and I come back in and I say edit with designer, you'll see that it brings it up in designer. And now this is going to look somewhat familiar to you, right? Because you see where that revenue hidden. And here, if I looked at the capabilities, right, I could see that I can rename the title and the ranking. You could see because it had ranking as the column. It respected that. And remember, it also had sort limit. And notice it has and respected that it was sort descending and that it had a sort limit of custom 12. And certainly if I go to the source code, you'll see that is also respected as well. And just as a last point, just to prove that it all works, of course, if I run this capability, this request, you'll see that the ranking is appropriately applied. So great 3 features in Designer that are now part of 9.3.4, imminently due out. And I hope that my hope is that you can integrate this into meeting your business requirements, make producing content that much easier for you. So I really appreciate your time, and hopefully this was a very informative session. Good. I hand it over to you, Aniket.
All right. Thank you so much, Renee. It was a great presentation.
Thank you.
All right. So I am going to sort of give you a taste of the features that we have been um, coding in the background. So let's go over some of the features. So I'm on an engineering build and I'll be doing a demo for it. And using the slides, I'll sort of show you the features that you can expect in the upcoming 9.3x release. Okay, so starting off with data bars. So this is one of the most requested features that people used in reports. So using data bars gives you a visual cue of like how your measures have been presented. So if we had these features in IA, in Designer we have enhanced it. So one of the things that we did in Designer is that now you can change the color of your data bars rather than just having them gray and red. So if you want different colors, you can use that, and I will showcase this capability when I demo this. The other two features sort of go hand in hand, which is edit title and rename parameters. So rename parameters enables you to have filters and then use it in a simple page, and then you can decide how you want to control your content with that. So this has been one of our requested features, and along with it also has been the edit title. So in 9.3, in the current 9.3.4 release, you cannot edit the title. If let's say it is country, it will always be country. You would have to put it into an assemble page and then rename it. But if it is a single authored content or an authored page, you are restricted by that. We have now, remediated it, and now you will be able to do you will be able to rename it. So instead of, let's say, country, you want to show or rather input something like choose a country. So you will be able to do it with it. And also all these three features, if you have IFXs created, they will be supported in Designer. Some of the other features that we are also coding is report out of it. So we did support some of the report functionality in 9.3x release, in 9.3.3 and 9.3.4 release, wherein you could choose the width of your column. But this was one of the other requested features, which was report out of it, so that you can auto-fit the report based on the width of the column. So that has been provided. Another major one that we are trying to code as we speak is report subhead and subfoot. So this will allow users to add report subhead and subfoot to your reports, and then also be able to to edit the text, style it, and then if you want, you could also add some of your customizations in there. And then another improvement that we are doing is, so one of the requests that we have constantly got is that when you come from IA to designer, it is very difficult to, you know, to get to the calculations. It is very difficult to identify the calculations in the metadata tree. So we are remediating on that. And what we are trying to do is in the view selector, we will have the options in which when you check this show calculations only, it will only show you your calculations that you have added, so that now you can only work with your calculations and they will be easily identifiable to you. So these are some of the features that we will be introducing in our upcoming 9.3x release. And what I'll now be doing is I'll be showing you these features, some of these features live. Okay, all right, so this is my engineering build. So I'll be starting off with data bars. Okay. Let me just refresh this. Okay, now I'm in. So in I, what you could do is you could populate your report, and when you clicked on the sum field, you had this option under more, which was data bars. And what that could do is that will give you this visual cue to sort of represent your data. Let me also add a compute field so that I can show it to you. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same sales and just subtract something so that we have some negative values on it. Okay, so we have some negative values. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to apply ranking to it. So as it data bars to it. So as you can see, um, here you have, since here all the values are positive, you have gray color. And since here you have some values that are negative, you have red color. Let me save this. So I'm just going to name this as data bars. Now, let's say you have this existing fix. What you can simply do is you can right click on it, click on Edit in Designer, and just like that, you have migrated your report over to Designer. Now, the way that you can style it is you have the data bars option here. So for example, in this case, I want to remove data bars from sales. So I could just simply click on that option, and then for sales, it will be removed. And now I'm just working with this compute field. What I could do is if I want to re-add it, I can come here and the option is right there. I can just simply add it back in and it'll be the same. Now now to style the data bars, what I can do is I can go to format. I have my column options. Here I'll select the values since the data bars are present in the values, and then the column that I want to style it in. So compute one, that's the column name. So here you have the two colors that you can apply. So let's say I don't want red, I want, let's say, orange, and then for the positive ones, I want green. So you could absolutely do that. So all your negative values will have a different color, and all your positive values will have a different color sort of hue. Um, so this will help you better interpret the data. And if I run this, you can see that the values, the colors that I've specified to maintain them. And if I want, I can obviously come back here and I can remove the data bars or add them. The other options remains the same. The other feature that I would like to demonstrate is the ability to edit titles and edit parameters as well. Okay, so I'm going to again choose the car master file. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add country and car to the global filter shelf. And then I'm just going to populate the chart using country and dealer cost. So what you can simply do is you can right click on it, and now you have these two options, which is rename parameters and rename title. So what rename title can do is in the prior releases, you didn't have the ability to rename this country. So what I can simply do is I can come here and I can input a text that I really want the user to see. For example, in this case, I can add select a country. When I click OK, as you can see, this has been changed to select a country. I'll also show it from the source code perspective. So if I come here, if you see this, it has also renamed it here. So you have the select a country or the value that you had entered being displayed here. what I can also do is I can come here and rename the parameter. So this is not visually displayed, but this is more of a way to manipulate this filter. So what I can do is I can add in country 1, click OK. I can view source code. And if I look at this country, it has renamed it here. So country 1 and also the default country 1. So it has renamed it at both the places. Now let me just mark this as required so the auto prompt comes up, and let's see how it looks at the auto prompt level as well. Okay, so as you can see, the select a country value is also displayed here. And now let me show a use case of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this chart as country 1, and I'm going to create another chart basically with the same master file. I'm going to still use country, and I'm going to use car. I'm just going to rename this again, like choose a country. And what I'm going to also do is I'm going to rename this parameter right here. So that was country 1. I'm just going to keep this as country 2. Okay. And I haven't touched car in both of my fixes. So here, let me just create something using car and dealer cost, and let me make it a pie chart. Okay, so now we have a bar chart and a pie chart displayed right here. Let me also mark this as required so we see the change. Okay, so that change is present. Now the way that you can use this feature is, let's say if you have if you are working with assemble mode and you want a filter to control just one visualization. Earlier, what would happen is if since these two parameters had the same name, if I go to the source content and, for example, in case of this country 1, it just had country. So in assemble mode, it would just show one filter. But with this, what it will do is, since these are two different parameters, it will, for the different parameters, it will show different filters. So if I go back here and then I add country 2, as you can see, there aren't 4 parameters, there are just 2 parameters. So I added one you have, which is select country, and then one is choose country. So if I select Italy and Japan here, this container is going to populate. And if I choose England and France here, this container is going to populate. And since this is a common parameter, if we haven't changed this, if I change anything here, both of these containers are going to complete. So that is how you can use this feature to rename your parameters. Also, if I create a content in IA, let me create a chart.
Anikit,
Yeah,
I'm so sorry to interrupt you. My sincere apologies. We are getting close on time, and we do want to be able to do some Q&A. So if you can get to a close stopping point.
sure. I'll just demo this and then I will stop. Okay, so I've populated this chart. I'm going to pull this in. I'm going to switch over to parameters so that I can get the name and the description. So in the name, I'm again just going to, this is the parameter name, so I'm just going to name it car1. And then here I'm going to, let's say, add select a car. I'm going to make it dynamic. Okay. Okay. And I'm just going to save this as a random name. So now when I open this, ideally I should get both the values, the parameter to be car1 and the title to be select a car or choose a car. Yep. So I'm getting that. And then if I go to the outline and view the source code, okay, I'm getting select a car. And then here as well, I'm getting the right name. So yeah, I guess those were the features that I wanted to demo. Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you, Anikit. Okay, guys, I know that we are pretty much up to our stopping point. If you would like to stick around, we are going to do some Q&A, so apologies that this will go over a little bit, but we'd love for you guys to stay and happy to answer your questions still. Anikit and Renee, there are some questions in the Q&A if you guys want to start with those. If you want to ask those out loud so everyone can hear and then answer. And then if anybody has any additional questions, we're happy to take those.
All right, so I'll get started. The first question is, with Designer, when will we have an option to define complex filters like and or like we do? So that's a great question. Actually, we are working on it. It's a complex feature, and that is why it won't be in an upcoming 9.3.5 release, but definitely in one of the 9.3x releases, you could expect it. All right, moving on with the next one. When will we receive the patch update with a long-term support new release? Angie, I'd have to ask you to answer this question. When will
Yeah,
we
no
receive the patch
worries.
update?
Yeah, so the long-term support overall covers 9.3x, all of the 9.3x releases. So when 9.3.4 comes out, we actually encourage you to go to the 9.3.4 release so you can take advantage of all the new things that are in there. Yeah, and in general, the long-term support is all of the 9.3x. So 9.3.4 in the future, 9.3.5, and so on.
Right. Thank you, Angie, for that. And then with that, I'll move on to the next question, which is, with Designer, when will we have the option to use input controls for dynamic filters? Assemble already has input box controls. Okay. Yeah, again, we are working on it. So it is on our roadmap. There are currently so the current way that we are trying to do it is that we're looking at quick wins, something that we can provide it to you, or while also maintaining a long-term roadmap and trying to get some of those priority features. And this is one of the features that is long-term and will need a significant engineering effort. So yeah, you can expect the feature to be there and soon. And then when will 9.3.4 be available to us? I think in the Angie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think in a couple of weeks it should be available on a e-delivery platform.
Yeah, as Dan said at the beginning, we're hoping for next week. We are subject to a couple of internal systems and internal teams, but we are aiming for next week.
Okay. Within Designer, is there an option to add multiple filters at once, but not necessarily all filters? I'm not sure of this.
No,
So,
we don't
okay.
have the capability yet. It's all filters, or it's the individual filters that you can add at this point, but not to say select certain ones.
Okay, when will we get tree filter controls within filter toolbar? Something that we are again working on. If this is a priority and a gap item, then I can definitely look into it.
Any additional questions for Anikit, Renee, You guys can either raise your hand, we can unmute you if you'd like to ask them out loud, or you can submit them through the Q&A. And our good friend, John Coleman, I knew I could count on you. Can you hear us, John?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, cool. Yep, we can hear you.
Always. So this one's a little more convoluted than just typing it out, but we've talked about this a few times on the report caster. So this isn't designer, but it's the new report caster UX UI. I'm getting interior and exterior complaints that on the parameter screen, you have to scroll down a tiny, tiny bit to see where it says include the value contains a system variable. We've tried different resolutions. We've tried hard coding it. We've tried just about everything. Is there any way in future that can be, because I have users that are like, well, you've made one change. This is terrible. Everything's broken and you're horrible. But that is something they're not seeing. So when they run it, it's not getting what they want. And then we have to explain to them, you have to scroll down a little bit. And it's just causing internal problems.
Gotcha, that's interesting. John, do you have a case on that already as well? I'm assuming you do.
Hold on, look at my case list. You know what?
Yes or no is fine on that.
My case list. Look, I don't think so, but I'll definitely open one today.
Okay, yeah, that's something. I know our UX team is looking into that reportcaster, the dialogue size overall. Sorry, this is like outside of Aniket and Renee, but I'm just gonna answer for them.
That's why I saved it for not designer question quick.
Yeah, no worries. I know the UX team is looking into the size of that reportcaster dialogue. So yeah, would love to hear your feedback, and if you have some screenshots of it as well, would love to get those too.
Absolutely, I'll throw it in there.
Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for letting me speak.
Oh, it's a pleasure,
John, while you are here. Sure, I'll just take 30 seconds. So John, I now got your question. So yes, you'll be able to multi-select and drag and drop fields not only into the field bucket but also on the filter toolbar. So you'll be able to. It is in one of our upcoming releases. It is a feature that is currently being developed. So you could use Control to select specific fields, or you could click on Shift and then select a group of fields and then either drag them to the required bucket or drag them to the global filter toolbar. So that is a feature that is currently being coded.
Okay, guys. Again, I do apologize. We are 5 minutes over. So I will let you go at this point. Thank you so much for everyone joining today. I hope today's session was very informative, very valuable. Again, I will send out a copy of the recording. And if there's anything that Aniket and Renee are able to share with you guys, that will be included in my email as well. With that, Aniket, Renee, thank you so much for presenting today. Great questions, guys. Keep them coming. We will see you guys in 2 months for our next expert office hour. So be on the lookout for that invite. And in the meantime, if you need us, you know where to find us. So feel free to reach out. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of your week.